everybody, and welcome to the 37th episode of the MyMuddlings podcast. My name is Julianne and I am your host, and I can be found on Ravelry as Lovebird Lane. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'm so glad you can spend some time with me, and I'd like to welcome all my new subscribers. I'm actually really blown away. I think I've had about 40 new subscribers just since the last episode, and I think I have about 600 views on the last episode, which is just incredible. Thank you all for joining me and for subscribing, and it's so exciting. And please do let me know either on the show notes or in the comments below where you have come from, because I haven't managed to find out who sent you my way. So I'd like to return the favour to them. So if you could let me know where you've all come from, that would be really awesome. So that was pretty exciting. I've been logging into my YouTube every day since Friday and just being blown away by the increases in numbers. Excuse me, I'm still a little bit froggy in my throat. It's quite early here today because I am going out for lunch, so I think it's only just after 9, about 20 past 9. I probably still have a bit of morning voice. But thank you very much for joining me. Welcome. I hope you continue to enjoy the podcast, and if you do, please give it the thumbs up. And if you're a regular watcher but you haven't subscribed yet, please click that subscribe button. And YouTube can also tell you when my new episodes are uploaded if you click on that notifications, the little bell button as well. So if you want to get updates when I post, then definitely click that button. So, you've probably noticed I've had a haircut. I did mention that on the last episode. I now have a fringe. I washed my hair this morning and I tried to style it, but I didn't actually curl it and make it sit up as much as what I normally would, so it's a little bit in my eyes. So hopefully you can still see me okay. It's probably going to be strange to watch a podcast where you can't see someone's eyes, but hopefully you can see me. I can see the camera, so we should be okay. So yes, first things first, probably a bit of housekeeping. I'll pop up on the screen the details about the MyMuddlings stash down that we are running over in the Ravelry group. I still have not put anything new on there, and if you would like to support our sponsors, please do so. Just a quick note as well is Tamara of Tam's Crafty Knits has closed her Etsy shop. She is still going to be selling her wares, but she is going to be doing it via Facebook. So I don't have a lot of details at the moment. I'm sure she will be letting me know, and I believe she's going to talk about it on her upcoming podcasts anyway. So I will be tuning into those just to find out where I can find her in the future and let you guys know. And also, perhaps you could check out her podcast as well if you are interested in finding where she will be selling her products. So yes, I've just realised that I still haven't drawn a winner for the, what are we up to, April chatter thread. I'm so bad. I did lock it and create a May thread, and our challenge for this month is to knit a pair of socks from stash. So there you go. For all of you who wanted a sock month as a challenge, this is your month. Alrighty, I don't know what I'm going to do about the prize. Perhaps I will figure it out later and insert a video of me later on today working that out. Alright, so I guess I can get on to what I have been working on. I have one finished object for this week, and I think it's over here somewhere. I do, here we go. So this is the Amelia Beret, which is my own pattern. There, and this I have knit for my mother-in-law for Mother's Day. It hasn't been blocked yet, so the lace hasn't really, let me see if I can show it off a little bit better. The lace hasn't been quite blocked out. I am going to block this as a beret rather than a beanie, because that's the cool thing about this pattern, is that it can be done both ways. So this is my pattern. It's available on Ravelry, and I knit this out of my own yarn as well. So this is my Fisher DK base, and the colourway is Wisteria Arbor. So yeah, I could probably put it on, but it's probably going to mess up my my hair, make it even harder for you to see my eyes with my fringe. So yes, there you go. I really enjoy this pattern. It looks really good in solids and more variegated yarns. So this isn't hugely variegated, it's more of a tonal, but yeah, not really much more to say. I've knit, let me just fix my hair up. I've knit, oh god, 4 over there, 5 of the, I've knit this 5 times now. So yeah, I'm pretty well versed in this pattern, plus the fact that I actually wrote it myself. So yeah, that's the Amelia Beret for my mother-in-law. So that's for Mother's Day. I don't know when I'm going to get that to her. I'm probably going to need to wash it today just to make sure that it dries in time. But I think we're going to be spending Mother's Day with my family, so I don't know when we're going to see Simon's mum. So yes, I'm sorry, I am sniffing because I've got allergies or something. Oh, sorry for the cut, I just had to blow my nose. Yes, so what else have I got? That's my only finished object for this week, and I used 135 yards of the DK weight yarn. That pattern can be done in a worsted or a DK, depending what you've got. So yeah, 135 yards of the DK, and I knit that on 4mm, which is US 6, and 4.5mm, which is US 7, just a 17-inch circular, and then some matching DPNs for the crown decreases. So yes, that's that one. You can probably see there's a bunch of mess over today. I've overwhelmed myself with whips again, so things are in a bit of a mess, but it's mostly my Lady Sunny side. So I'll get on to my works in progress, and that is my Lady Sunny side, and I will try to detangle myself. And again, you're not going to see very much difference in this because I'm just knitting the body. You can see that it's getting quite long now. So I haven't tried it on, but I would say it's probably below my bum now. So I think I've got 2 balls left. Yes, I have 2 balls left of my yarn. And I'm thinking I will probably start my ribbing halfway through my second to last ball, I think. That should give me a nice good, let me see here, yeah, about 4.5 inches of ribbing, I think, ish, because those 2 markers denote, hopefully you can see that, they denote 1 ball of yarn. So in between those 2, that's a ball of yarn. So yeah, I think it'll probably end up being around about 4.5 inches of ribbing on the bottom, which I'm fine with. I'm not looking forward to doing 4.5 inches of ribbing, but yeah, that'll be fine. It'll be nice and long, nice and cozy. I just need to then find some buttons, and I'm going to need quite a few buttons because I think I've already got 7 buttonholes. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. Oh gosh. Yeah, I've already got 7 buttonholes, so I'm probably going to need a good 10 or so buttons, I would imagine, on this one. And because, you know, sewing on buttons is just my favourite thing. But yes, so I'm really looking forward to wearing this. I have slowed down a little bit on it because now I'm sort of stuck in, you know, people always say they're stuck on Sleeve Island. Well, my sleeves are done. So I'm stuck on Body Island, and it's very long and it's getting really heavy. I think I mentioned that before, it's quite heavy. So, because I think it's got about 12.5 balls of yarn in it now. So that's, you know, 1.2 kilos worth of sweater. So yeah, I've actually lost a little bit of my knitting mojo in general, so it's not just this cardigan. I have begun playing Sudoku again. I haven't played Sudoku for quite a while, and I'm now getting hooked on it again. So that's been taking a lot of my knitting time, and especially because I've been very tired lately. I've been getting really tired really early. Like I think I went to bed at 8:30 last night. So, you know, I knew I was a granny, but I didn't know I was that much of a granny. Yeah, so I've been getting really tired and I've just not been in the frame of mind to do any knitting, but I want this cardigan so badly, so I'm gonna have to actually do some work on it. So that's my Lady Sunny side. Not very interesting, but still getting there. Sooner or later, I will be on the podcast and I will be wearing it. And speaking of that, I didn't actually speak about what I'm wearing today. Just let me adjust my bra straps. They keep falling down for some reason. Yes, it's looking a little bit pilly, but this is my Rust and Stone cardigan, which is, I can't remember who wrote this pattern. I'll put it in the down bar for you. This one does need a bit, I think I've mentioned before, I think I wore it in one of my very first podcasts. The sleeves are quite big. I have just given it a wash, so they have snugged up a little bit. But yeah, I really like this cardigan. I wear it a lot, and this is knit from Knit Pick Stroll Tonal, I think is what it's called. And this is the Raven colorway, so it's hopefully you can see that there's sort of greys and blacks and purples. I think there's like a sort of a navy blue in there as well. I've got quite a bit of this left because Knit Picks actually sent me two lots of the same order, which was pretty nice. I think I ended up with 8 skeins of this. So I used not quite 4 for this cardigan, so I've got quite a bit left, which I have no problem with because I love this colourway. So yeah, that's my Rust and Stone cardigan, just in case you were wondering. What's next? My vanilla socks. So I have been working on these and I've just realised that I finished one and I've left it over there, so bear with me. And I'm back. Yes, my vanilla socks, I finished one. So there we go. So this is just my basic sock recipe for my vanilla sock recipe. I tend to like just bland, boring vanilla socks. So if you're a new subscriber, you know, most of my socks look like this. And it's 64 stitches, 2.5mm needle, which is a 1.5 US, I believe. I'm getting better at remembering them. So yeah, just 64 stitches, 12 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. I think I make my legs about 7 inches. That's I use the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. And then I'm about a size 8 to 9 in Australian shoes. So I make my foot about 7 3/4 inches, I think, before I do my toe. And that tends to fit me pretty well. So this is knit from my Unwind Yarn Company Jaunt Sock Blank. And that's in one of her one-of-a-kind stained glass speckled colourways. It was number 42. So it's basically blacks and greys and purple and green. And there's getting to a point where there's little blips of this kind of, I think it's just here. It's kind of like a bit of a burgundy or like a red, which is pretty cool. Let me open up my bag. So this is how far I am on my second sock. I pretty much did that yesterday. I finally cast it on because I will talk about some acquisitions that I've got, and I actually wound up a ball of one of them already because I really wanted to knit some socks from it, but I went, no, you're already halfway through a pair, finish those. And because I already have 2 pairs of socks on the needles, I don't have any more of my 2.5mm 9-inch circulars left, so I can't cast on yet another because now I have a sock on the needles. So I don't generally suffer from second sock syndrome. Let me go back to what I was actually doing. I was getting out my sock blank. So that's what I've got left. So yeah, I'm getting a lot of this sort of pinky, yeah, this pinky red here. So that's my sock blank. And now I've lost what I was tangenting on. Yes, I don't usually suffer from second sock syndrome. However, I can't say I'm really a fan of the sock blank, honestly. Generally, I don't think it's the kinkiness that really bothers me, although it could be. I'm not really sure. I just look at my finished sock And where usually my socks are really a consistent, nice, even, tight gauge, these look, I mean, it hasn't been blocked yet, but it just looks pretty inconsistent to me in comparison to my usual socks, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know that I will ever knit from a sock blank again. I guess the other thing is too is that the sock blank itself is really not indicative of what the finished item looks like, whereas, you know, a normal variegated yarn tends to have a bit of consistency to it. As you can see here, like there's different bands of different, you know, bits of colour. So, and I don't hate it, but yeah, I just don't think, you know, sock blank knitting is for me, and that's fine. And if you like knitting from sock blanks, all power to you. But I think in future I probably will skip the sock blanks for myself. So yeah, I have a hoe and a little, you know, it's not quite a toe beard like people usually, but it's, you know, a bit of a moustache. My pawn mow of a second sock. So that's my vanilla socks. I'm hoping to smash this out over the next week so that I can have it done and gone. And then I can cast on, no, I will not cast on the new pair of socks with my new yarn. I will finish my somewhere socks, which I mentioned from my mini skeins. I will do that first. But anyway, that's my vanilla socks, and those hopefully will be done next week. What else do I have? I have two other things on the needles, one of which I actually missed from my show notes, which I'll have to go back and fill in. And this is another Mother's Day present, and this is for my mum. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't watch the podcast on a regular basis, so hopefully I'll get away with this. But this is something that she has requested from me, so I'm going ahead and doing it. And this is one of the knitted necklaces. I'm not desperately far along, but this is the knitted necklace from Bryony of Gradient Australia Yarns, Bryony Singleton. And I've knit quite a few of these. I've got 3 of them in the shop at the moment, plus I knit one for myself. So I'm knitting one for my mum. She said that she wanted it from, she wanted a necklace knit out of my own yarn. So this is my Peach Face Fingering in the Flame Trees colourway. And I believe the pattern that Bryony wrote has 2 strands of DK weight held together, but all the ones that I've done with just with sock yarn, like fingering weight yarn, held double. So, and I think it makes, you know, a decent chunky enough kind of necklace. I'm quite happy with, you know, the result that I get from it. So yeah, I've done this. It's kind of, it's not my favourite thing to knit at the moment, so I'm having to kind of incite myself to do it, I guess. Is that the right word? I've been setting a timer on my phone for half an hour, and I say to myself that if I knit on this for half an hour, I can knit on what I want after that. So I'm kind of doing a carrot and stick kind of situation with myself to get this necklace done, because obviously it's Thursday and Mother's Day is on Sunday in Australia anyway. And so yes, that is my knitted necklace. And of course, Granger is being quite distracting. Are you stuck, buddy? See if he wants to come visit. Hey, bud, you want to come visit on the podcast? Come here. Ah, there we go. Can you see the camera? No, you don't know what's going on, do you? Hey, you're a good boy. Who's a good boy? Yeah. You gonna lay down? No. Yeah, that's okay. You can do that. Lay down. Drop. Good boy. Okay, now he's got his head on my knee. And I think I only have one other work in progress, and this is another brand new one that I started yesterday. And this is another test knit for Remade by Hand. So who is Erin? She is one of our sponsors. Her Bay Winter cowl, which I also tested, will be out this week, I think. But definitely keep an eye on Erin's stuff to find out for sure. But anyway, this is her second pattern, and it's called Understoried, which refers to and Granger's going to start growling and sooking in a minute, because there's a lady that delivers our sort of local newspaper. I think it's called The Messenger. Can you hear him? And she always brings her dogs along, and Granger gets a little bit excited by the dogs. So he's just wandering around. You'll probably hear him a bit in the background while he has a little bit of a freak out over the dogs. Hopefully he won't bark. He's not usually a barker. He's more of a sucker. Anyway, I'll get back to what I'm talking about. God, how distracted am I today? I'm just all over the place. So yes, this is Understoried. I have literally done, I think, 6 rows. So I don't have a lot to show you. It's a wrap that is, I'm doing the wrap size. She's got a scarf and a wrap size in this pattern. I'm doing the wrap size. So what can I say? I'm doing the lace section. There's leaf lace is the first section. I did read through the pattern, but I can't remember. I think there's maybe 9 different sections, but the first section is just the leaf lace. Granger! Sorry, Granger is going to sit right next to me and stare at me. He has been barking. I have probably cut it out. I might do a Kristen of Yarngasm, add that in as a blooper reel at the end, just so you can see me yelling at my dog. So yeah, let's get back to what I was talking about. I think this is probably the 3rd attempt at trying to talk about this project. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much that I can tell you about as yet, because that's literally all I have done. As part of this, I've been in touch with Erin, and I have created a colourway with her guidance for this pattern that I'm going to be calling Understoried. So she suggested perhaps, because my first try was actually one of the yarns that I'm going to have in my shop update section. I could probably show you, but this is the first one that I tried, because I thought Understoried, because it's about being under the canopy in like a forest. So I tried to get some, like, you know, some dirt, some sort of brown for dirt, purple for shadows, and then like a speckling of green for foliage or lichen or moss or whatever. But even though I kept adding colour, it didn't seem to want to get any deeper. I'm not quite sure why. So it's a little bit, I mean, it's beautiful. I love it. But it's not quite right for what we were looking at, and Erin didn't feel that it was quite right either. So I'll talk about that a bit later. So she suggested, what about various sort of greens with some little bits of blue, so like you're seeing the sky, like looking up through the canopy, through the leaves, little blips of blue. Perhaps blips of like white, sort of like you're getting the sunlight reflecting through the spaces in the leaves. So anyway, this is what I came up with. A lot of the greens that I used were actually quite blue-green. I did put a moss in there as well, just to get a little bit more of the yellow-green. It probably could have done with a little bit of yellow to it, perhaps. And I did speckles of blue. I don't know how well you'll be able to see the speckles of blue in there. But yeah, Erin was pleased with that, and I was pleased with it. So that is what I'm knitting my Understoried out of. And I'm probably going to dye up a few skeins of Understoried for the time when she releases the pattern as well. So I'm obviously alternating skeins, because it's going to be quite a big wrap. And, you know, hand-dyed yarn usually needs a bit of, you know, I don't want to have big sort of lines of the different skeins through it, so I'm alternating my skeins. I'm doing 2 rows of each. So yeah, I can't say really much more about that at the moment because I've literally done 6 rows. I have already gotten to the point where I did stuff up and I had to tink back most of a row, so that was great. I don't mind doing it so much when I've got a decent amount of fabric behind me, but because it was so close, I think that was on the third or 5th row. Yeah, it was the 5th row. You don't have a lot behind you, so it makes tinking quite annoying. So yeah, I guess there's not really much more to tell you, but you can probably just see here the little blips of blue. So the blue is kind of speckled on. Hopefully it will only be like a stitch or 2 just to blip through the green every now and then. So that is all my works in progress. Pretty much now I just have some acquisitions and a shop update, and I'll go through the acquisitions first because I had a lovely visit with one of my podcast viewers and now my new friend, Lavenica. I spent about an hour with her yesterday morning because I popped over because she's just started dyeing yarn, and she is going to be operating under the name of Finch Yarns. So, which is pretty funny because I'm Lovebird Lane, so she's Finch Yarns. All about the birds over in Adelaide. So yeah, she was at a market that I'm actually going to try and get into for the next couple. So she was at a market and she had some leftovers, and she does great variegateds. I feel like variegateds is perhaps an area that I need to work on improving for my own yarn range. But she seems to have the knack for making really good variegateds. So she sent me pictures of what she had left, and she said, oh, you know, come over and have a look and see what we've got. So I went and I fell down hard and I bought 4 skeins of yarn. Like I need more. So anyway, I will show you what I bought. And as I was saying, I balled up one of the skeins of yarn because I really wanted to cast it on, but I have abstained. I have resisted my compulsive behaviour. But this one was called Blanket Proposal. Let me pull it out of the shadow of the camera. And this is really, really pretty variegated. I gather it's probably inspired by like a tartan picnic blanket, I'm imagining, is what she used as the inspiration for this. And this is like a 2-ply sock yarn, so it's merino and nylon. So yes, that was Blanket Proposal, and now that's sitting in front of me. So that's my carrot for my socks. So I have this in front of me, and I use this as the carrot, the encouragement to finish my other socks. So that's Blanket Proposal. And she's got such a cute little logo. There's her logo. Her daughter, I think, is studying graphic design, so she created her this little logo, and yeah, it's just so cute. Maybe I need to talk to her daughter about creating me a logo because I need some lovebirds. So this one was called Fondant Fancy, and it's a really cool speckle. And chatting with her yesterday, because obviously we're both dyers, we had a bit of dye talk, and she gave me some great, because speckles is something that I've struggled with as well. I think I've mentioned that on past episodes. I tend to get big clumps of colour. It doesn't spread far enough, and yeah, Lavenica has given me a couple of tips as to how to get more of a sparse speckle, which was really cool. So yes, that was Fondant Fancy, and that's a 4-ply sock yarn, that one. So merino and nylon. What's this one called? Tonya's Revenge is this one. I love this. So pretty. And that's, again, the 4-ply sock yarn. And finally, I got Ferris Wheelies, which is this really cool blue, purple, you know. Are you surprised that I like this skein? I don't think so. So yeah, it's just beautiful yarn. I've put this on my Instagram yesterday and got a lot of likes on it. So she will be loading what she has left onto an Etsy store. She still, I don't think, has got that set up. Lavenica, let me know if you have, and I will let everybody know. So yeah, she has project bags as well, and I'm going to show you. She gave me this one for free. She gave me a present. How nice is that? And how beautiful is this? as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, I love that so much. And it's got this awesome mustard polka dot lining, and I've never seen a drawstring bag quite like this. Stupid thing. The safety pin is making it so that I can't actually I can't draw it in. But yeah, I've never seen drawstring bags quite like this, made like this. I think I might need to look in to see if I can figure out how to make them myself, because they're really cool. Because, you know, you used to kind of the drawstring bags that have like the channel going through the body of the bag, and I don't really love those because it has that little, what do you call it? It's almost like a little frilly thing at the top, you know, from where you've cinched it in, whereas this actually, you know, it's cinches the top in, so you don't have any of that fluffy, ruffly stuff at the top. And that's probably why I've never really made drawstring bags myself, because I didn't like they almost look like little like treasure bags or something, you know. I think they look funny. But yeah, so I love this so much. She's like, here, pick a bag, take a bag. I'm like, oh, thank you. So yeah, it was so nice to meet Lavenica yesterday. I was so excited. I got to meet her niece Maddie as well, who was also really lovely. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to spend some more time together, and I've suggested, you know, perhaps we can do a dye day together, so we can maybe do some collabs or something. So thank you so much for having me yesterday, Lavenica, and thank you for my bag. And I can't wait to see you again. So yeah. Hi Lavenica, I know you're watching. So yes, I think that's pretty much all really I have to talk about, apart from some shop update. Love it or leave it. Again, haven't thought about it. I mean, probably my love it this week is actually meeting Lavenica. That was so much fun. And she's probably, I think, the first person that I've met who I've met through doing the podcast and my Instagram and things like that. So that's pretty exciting, a little bit daunting. But yeah, she was just so lovely, so I felt very comfortable. So yeah, that's probably my love it this week, was meeting Lavenica. And leave it, being busy. I've been so busy. If you know, have followed me for a while, if you're a new subscriber, I actually suffer from depression and anxiety. So one of my triggers for having, you know, breakdowns is to be stressed and you know, be too busy. If I'm too busy, then I do get stressed, and I often you know, can end up in a bit of a funk for a couple of weeks. So I think next week I might take it a little bit easy, because I've been very busy over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, leave it as being busy and getting stressed. So yeah, I think I'll leave that for this week, and hopefully I'll give myself a little bit of a slower week next week. All right, so I'll get on to what I have in a shop update. So I will be having a shop update tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Adelaide time, which is Australian Central Standard Time, and that's Friday. Well, tomorrow night is Friday, but this podcast will be coming out on the Friday. So the 12th of May at 7 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time is when I will be doing my update. I have 9 skeins of yarn for you this week, including some self-striping. That's, you know, you probably noticed the title of this podcast is Self-Striping Success. I figured it out, guys. I have figured it out. I discovered the reason that I was having problems, I spoke about last week, having my skeins warped on the board, but finding one errant piece of yarn that seemed to be messing up the whole thing. And I discovered that is actually because it's the way that I join the two ends is what the problem was. So I pretty much untied my two ends, sorted out my loop, and then tied the ends together properly. So it wasn't the whole skein that was the problem in the last 2 skeins that I did. It was simply just how I tied the ends. So I started tying my interval sort of ties from the opposite end of the skein, and as I got my way through, I discovered that that's what the problem was where I had tied the 2 ends together. So I undid it, did it properly, and I'm all good. So yes, after last week saying that self-striping is a nightmare, this week I'm like, yay, self-striping is so fun. So I've been doing, you probably, if you follow me on Instagram, which is at Lovebird Lane is my business Instagram. I'm also on there as Anne of Julie as my personal. But I've been putting little black and white photos of my self-striping up there as I've been swatching them. So I don't actually have any swatches left because I had been worried about washing my self-striping skeins when they were still in the big loop. Even though they were tied off quite regularly, they still did get a little bit tangled. So I didn't really want to wash them as a full skein. So what I did is I skeined them off into the two separate balls, because I do two balls, like two skeins at once. I then knit my swatch, and then I've reskeined the yarn and washed them. So they're still a bit damp, so I've got them twisted for the podcast, but I will be opening them up and letting them dry completely after this. And so yes, without further ado, I guess I should show you the self-striping first, or should I make you wait? No, I'll show you first. So it's funny, the first colorway that I have, I'll show you, is this one. And this was actually a mistake because I had a really cool name that I heard that would be awesome for a self-striping yarn. So this was my first attempt, and because I've never done self-striping yarn before and I didn't really know how much yarn is actually in each section, I didn't know quite how much colour to use, and I obviously used too much colour. So this turned it out to be a lot darker than what I actually wanted for the colourway I had in mind. But I'm making lemonade out of lemons. This actually inspired me to create a collection of self-striping. So this is my first colourway in my Adventure Time collection. So Simon and I like to watch Adventure Time. I think we're completely up to date on it now. We watch it through Stan, which is like a streaming TV service here in Australia. So yes, we've watched all of Adventure Time. I haven't watched as much as Simon. He tends to watch it after I pike out and I'm too tired and I go to bed. But yes, this is the first colourway in my series, and I'm going to do probably a colourway for each of the Pretty Well main characters. I think I've got another 8, I think, written down-ish. But this is my first one, and this is Captain Banana Guard. And the Banana Guards are Princess Bubblegum's like castle guards, and I love them because they do their sirens, you know, like police and fire and stuff. They all have sirens. They have their own sirens that they create themselves. So as they go into sort of, you know, fight the enemies or protect the castle or whatever, it's like wee-oh, 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 wee-oh. It cracks me up every time when they go off and do their wee-ahs with their, you know, their voices instead of having actual sirens. So I'm calling this Captain Banana Guard because he has epaulets on his shoulders. So obviously the yellow and the brown are pretty obvious why that's a banana colourway. And I've got the pink through there. The pink does have some coloured, you can probably just see it there, and I'll put in a picture of my swatch as well so you can see it. Yeah, it does have some speckles in there, so I'm calling that either his epaulets or the colours of the Candy Kingdom. So that's my first Adventure Time self-striping colourway. So yeah, I'm pretty excited by that. So my second one I am calling Mermaid Astronaut, and this one doesn't have quite as much contrast. These are both 4 stripers, however 2 of the 4 stripes are the same colour. So there's 2 stripes of yellow, I mean you'll have seen, plus the 2 coloured stripes. So this one's called Mermaid Astronaut because last week I had the mermaid colourway. I've used exactly the same colours to create what I would call the, you know, the galaxy space colour on here, plus the other stripe as well. So one stripe is It's probably really hard to see, but I'll put in a picture of my swatch anyway. But one of them is a lighter stripe that's quite speckly. Yeah, you can probably just see that's sort of a lighter stripe there that's mostly blue-green, but it has pink and purple speckles on it. And then there's this darker section here, which is very concentrated, sort of a deep purpley blue. So yeah, and then in between it's got sort of a light grey stripe. So that's Mermaid Astronaut. And I'm hoping to come out with 2 new self-striping colourways at least every fortnight, perhaps every week if I can manage it. So yeah, those will be in the shop tomorrow. I also have, now this one was another one that I was trying for Understoried. This was another one that Erin suggested, and she said like sort of like a twilight sort of colourway. So I'm calling this Canopy Shadows. So I guess you can kind of see it there. It's mostly purple and blue. This isn't self-striping, by the way, it's just variegated. Those are the self-stripings. So yeah, it's purple and blue and grey, and then it has these, I think per skein, it has about 2 sections of yellow, so just speckled on. So they can be stars or like the waning sun. So yeah, I really love this colourway. I dyed up 3 skeins of this, but I've kept one for myself. Even though it's easily repeatable because I dyed 1 Understoried and 1 Canopy Shadows on its own, let it dry for a little bit. I wrote down the recipe and then let it dry to see whether I was happy with it, and then I dyed up the other 2 skeins of each. So it's easily repeatable. They're all really similar, so I can easily make this again if anybody is interested. So yeah, Canopy Shadows. I've got 2 skeins of that, will be up in the shop. And then finally I have what I showed you earlier, and that was the bark colourway. So I have 3 of those. And something to bear in mind, if you do like the bark, because this was going to be for my test knit, I wasn't really accurate with the balls that I wound off. I basically made sure that between the 3 skeins that I wound off my cone, I would have enough to finish the project. So one of these I think is 98 grams, one is 104 grams, and one is 112 grams. So I tend, when I wind off my skeins, to try and aim for about 104, 105 grams for my regular skeins. So that's the normal price. The 98 grams is a bit cheaper and the 112 grams is a bit more expensive. So depending how much, I've got yardages and weights on the listings. There's variations within the listings, so definitely check those out if you are interested in just one skein of this or another. So yes, this is bark. So as I mentioned before, it's like a brown with a purple undertone and then some green speckles. So yeah, they will be in the shop as well, so I hope you can join me. I'm pretty pleased with the colourways that I have for this week's update. There are these ones especially. I don't have a lot of more moody colours, like deeper, more, I kind of call them a bit more elegant colours. I tend to gravitate more to bright colours when I'm dyeing, so I definitely do want to get more of these darker colours into my repeatable colourway sort of list, I guess you could call it. So yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with what I've got there today. I hope you love them too. I hope you will join me tomorrow evening, and I will be putting updates on Instagram through the day, just so you can. I tend to do a little bit of a countdown, just so anybody who's not in my time zone can figure out about when the shop update is going to be. So I usually do 3 or 4 different posts through the day with a little bit of a countdown, just to help you international peeps out in case you are keen on getting some of my yarn. So yes, I think that's all I've got to talk about today. I don't know how long today's video has been. It doesn't give me a timer on the screen, which is a little bit frustrating. So anyway, yes, I hope you have enjoyed. Welcome again to all of my new subscribers. I'm super pleased that you're here to go along the ride with me. We do have a Ravelry group if you want to go and join the Ravelry group there and pop into the introductions thread and say hi. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm super glad that you could join me, and I will talk to you guys all next week. Have a great week. Bye. Granger! No! Come on! Come here! Come here! Hey! He's got all of us. No!